Hi kids, I'm Storytime Pup, and welcome to the Storytime Pup Show. I'm so glad you came by to play. I love when my friends come by to play, and you're one of my friends. Are you ready to have fun? Let's see what we're going to do today. Magic marker, show us what we're going to do today. Yay! It's storybook time! We love storybook time! Well, hi kids, and thanks for stopping by for today's book. Today's book is HoneyBee TreeHouse, and it's written by my friend Nina M. Kelly and illustrated by Herma Edwards. Are you ready? Okay, let's get started with today's book. Abby lived in a city of tall buildings and concrete playgrounds. She loved spending the summers with her Grandma Ann at her home in the country with the beautiful gardens. But this summer would be very different. Abby's grandmother now lived in a tree house. It was a long drive to her grandmother's home. Arriving late at night, she gazed in wonder at the tree house. "It's so big," Abby said. She pointed to rooms that rested on long, strong branches. "Grandmother, this is going to be the most magical summer ever!" Grandmother hugged her and led her along a secret passage. The brightly lit moon peeped through her bedroom window. "You can explore tomorrow after a good night's sleep," she said. Abby woke the next day after a deep sleep, where she had been dreaming she was resting in a bird's nest. Her eyes glanced towards the window, where she caught a glimpse of so many different colored flowers. Abby jumped out of bed and hurried to get dressed and off to explore. She wandered along the long, narrow passage, where she discovered that Grandmother Ann had prepared breakfast. After a delicious meal of honey, toast, and lavender tea, she ran out of the front door from the treehouse to play in the garden. "You have so many beautiful flowers!" exclaimed Abby. "Thank you, Abby," Grandmother Ann smiled. "Let me show you the peonies, zinnias, and lavender. Oh, and I have apple trees, too." Abby ran to the lavender plants. "My favorite! May I pick some and bring them to my room?" she asked. Before she knew it, Abby noticed bees all around her. Frightened, she called her grandmother for help. "Please don't worry, Abby. They don't want to harm you. Bees only sting when they are frightened," Grandmother Ann explained. "Right now they are busy doing their job." "Bees have a job?" asked Abby. Grandmother nodded. "They make sure the flowers bloom and the apple trees grow. Bees help produce plants and vegetables, too." Abby was so puzzled. She wondered, how can bees do all that? The next day, Abby walked over to see her summer friend, Michelle. Michelle's grandmother's house was nearby. The best fun came when they would adventure into the gardens and play hide and seek. Michelle's grandma, Laura, also had a huge garden. Abby wondered if Michelle was afraid of bees. Abby was not convinced bees were friendly. Abby caught a glimpse of Michelle waving across the garden. "Hi, Michelle! I'm so happy to see you!" Abby held up a basket of cookies. "We made them in Grandmother's treehouse kitchen." After cookies and milk, Abby and Michelle compared the different flowers in their grandmother's gardens. Here there were lilacs, lavender, goldenrods, and zinnias. Abby closed her eyes and breathed in all the perfumes. Such a different smell from the city, she thought. But then Abby heard buzzing and looked around for the source. To Abby's surprise, there were so many bees around the zinnias. Abby, don't be afraid of the bees. Look how busy they are, Grandma Laura explained. They are pollinating the flowers. What does pollinating mean? Asked Abby. Well, flowers produce both pollen and a sweet substance called nectar. The bees come to drink the nectar. Their bodies pick up pollen from the flowers. Grandma Laura pressed her fingers over the flower. See this orange powder? That is pollen. Bees carry pollen from one flower to another flower. That's how flowers stay alive. Abby watched as bees went flower to flower. Gosh, I never knew how much bees do, she thought. She didn't feel quite so afraid anymore. The next day, Grandmother Ann and Grandma Laura took the girls to a beekeeper. A boy named Toby took them on a tour. But first put on a suit, he instructed. My dad is going to let us touch the beehives. These suits will protect us. Suddenly, Abby felt a little worried. Abby and Michelle looked carefully at the wooden crates where the bees lived. The bees swarmed around inside and made honey. Each crate had something called a honeycomb, where the bees produced honey. Toby said, "It takes thousands of bees to make one jar of honey." After the tour was over, everyone got to eat fresh, yummy honey. Early the next morning, Abby and Michelle went with Grandmother Ann to the farmer's market. They invited their new friend Toby to join them. Toby was excited to show the girls all the honey products at the market. There was honeycomb, soaps, candles, and oils. His father was even selling honey in jars. There were so many people there, and so many things to buy. Pies and cookies, cider and eggs, cheese and breads, flowers and fruit and vegetables. Then Abby saw a sign that said, "Save the bees." What does that mean? Save the bees. From what? She asked Toby. Do you know what pollination is? I do. Bees go flower to flower and spread pollen. Toby nodded. Yep, without bees we wouldn't have any flowers, fruit, or any other crops. Abby looked concerned. But that means we wouldn't have food. Abby returned to her grandmother's garden, wondering so many things about what she had learned. She thought to herself, why do we have to save the bees? Then Abby remembered how bees are in danger from pesticides and many other changes in the climate. She knew she needed to do something to help. The next evening, Abby gathered with her friends around the campfire. It was time for action. How can we help save the bees? She asked. It was then that these friends formed the Bee Friend Club. They would spend the next few weeks learning all they could and sharing their passion with others. At the end of the summer, they would return to their homes and share more of what they had learned and discovered. The Bee Friends Club mission is to do everything they could to help save the bees. The fun began. To be continued. The end. So what did you think about today's book? Did you learn anything? I learned an awful lot about bees from this book. About pollinating and all the things that they help produce, and that they're in danger and they need our help. I hope you enjoyed today's book and learned something about bees. I want to say a great big thank you to Nina M. Kelly for this wonderful book.